Okay, this is a video on decision tree, and it is one of my all-time favorite tools that I used all the time in business. The interesting thing here is, in talking to former NKU students that I've had, you guys may have had decision tree, but what students share with me is after watching this video, they realized they had it, but they never learned how to use it and why it was so important. And therefore, it's just one of those classes that they took, learned how to use that particular tool, and forgot all about it. But I used it all the time, and that's why I want to share it with you. So, what's the concept? Well, it can be used by forecasting, can be used by analysis, can be used in recommendations. So ask yourself, have you ever had the situation where it was complex? You weren't sure what approach to take, or you weren't sure which direction, or you weren't sure which priorities, you weren't necessarily sure of all the dangers, you weren't sure of all the economics. Or you may have had one of these situations. Have you ever had a situation, you know in your gut the right decision, but you're having trouble explaining it? Or you're unsure of the right decision. It's a close call. Well, it's difficult to make. Or you took a risk, at the time it made sense, you do it again in the same situation, but now that it didn't work, you're having trouble explaining what went wrong. Or you understand the decision, but you need a lot more people involved in sharing their insights. What Decision Tree does, it's a way of diagramming those so you can help get to better decisions. You can help make decisions that you're uncertain about, that are a close call. You can demonstrate if something goes wrong a year or 2, 3 years later, why you made the decision you did in the first place, and it may have been the best decision at the time. And it helps you get other people involved in the decision-making process. And how do you do it? You diagram it. And the diagram has 6 key components. What's the question decision that you got to make? A, B, what are the options that then are available to you? If you took those options, stuff happens. What are those things that might happen? And then what's the probability of that happening? And what's the financial or implication of that happening? And then the numbers sort of come through and show you, okay, here's the result. It's easier to make a decision. So let me show you, again, some examples. You gather the facts like we've been doing the whole semester. You assemble the facts through a series of tools to help sift through data to get to the gold and the vampires and the brick walls and what the ghosts are. It's the same type of thing. There's just another tool. You then step back from the facts. All the facts make the complex simple, as we've been doing, and recommend an action. So again, what's a decision? What are the options available? If you made those decisions, those options, what would the outcome be? What's the probability of that outcome? What's the implication of that outcome? And then you sum it up to get results. So let me show you an example. Let's try it, all right? Let's say you've got a brother or sister who's choosing between 2 majors, and your mom asks for help in the decision. And they're looking at 2 schools. One school, major is business. The other school, the major is pharmacy. If you went to pharmacy school, you expect that that's going to be about 50 grand because you wouldn't be able to work part-time at all. And if you went to business school, you're expected that's 30 grand because you might be able to work part-time while you go. And your mom then, your brother tells you, hey, the probability of graduating from pharmacy school, if you go, is 75%. You may find out you don't like pharmacy, and if you don't, you can at least give it 2 years, and if you don't, you're going to leave school. And the probability of finishing business school, because you're pretty sure what it is and what it would intake, is 90%, but if you don't, you're going to quit after 2 years. These are assumptions. And if you don't graduate from other school, again, you're going to likely leave after 2 years, and if you leave school, you're going to be a car salesman. Then you say, okay, well, let's come up with some assumptions. If I did graduate from business school, how much would I make year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4, year 5? Those are all best guesses, but a guess is better than none. And if you go to pharmacy school, it's 70, 80, 90, and then it levels off at 90 because not pharmacy school, you generally start off higher, but you hit that glass ceiling really quickly. In car dealership, you start off pretty low, but then it starts gradually climbing. Now, if you were given all these facts and assumptions by your mom and your brother trying to decide which school, you'd be doing a lot of guessing to try to figure out what the best decision was and keep them involved in the decision. So let me show you how using Decision Tree helps you through that. What's the decision? Which career am I going to take? What are the options? One is getting a pharmacy degree, one is getting a business degree, or one is actually I can go directly into car sales, which a lot of people, when they do the decision tree, forget that's even an option. If they go to pharmacy school, what are the potential outcomes? Well, they might pass, they might fail. What's the probability of each? They best guess the probability. And they say, okay, what would the financial impact be if that happened? Well, if they went to pharmacy school and graduated, the income would start in year 5 and then the financial results. And if they didn't complete school, 25% chance they actually would be in car sales for 7 years instead of, and what's the financial result? And the same thing for the business degree and the same thing for the car sales. So that diagrams, so you sort of see what the options are visually. Then you put the numbers to it. So I did each one. In the pharmacy one, I go to school. If I pass, I go 4 years of no income. Then I've got the income of 70, 80, 90, 90, 90, which is a total of 420. I subtract the debt of 50 grand, which is now 370. I multiply it by the probability, and the so-called theoretical expected value is 278. Then I said, but the other options, I might quit after 2 years. If I quit, I become a car salesperson, 25, 35, 45, 60, and then I level off at 70. Total income 375, less now only half that debt. Total adjusted 350 times 25. So if I take that route, the expected value is 365, the combination of 278 and 88. Now another option is to go to business school, and I do the same math. It comes out 378. But then I notice if I go directly into car sales, it's 515. Oh my God, that's the best decision. And then mom goes, oh, no, you don't. Your brother's not going directly to car sales, and I'm not sure I agree with all those assumptions. Okay, mom, what assumptions do you want to change? So she says, well, I want to change the assumptions on how much they're going to make in business. And I want to make the changes in the assumptions on how much they're going to make in car sales. Said, okay, mom, great. And she says, and I also want to change the probability. I think there's an 85% chance they're going to get through pharmacy school. Okay, mom, we'll change that too. Notice in 1 minute, we redo the math. And guess what? Hey, close call, pharmacy school versus car sales versus business. But hey, going for the business degree is the best one. Notice how it lets you to get people involved. It pins down your best guesses, and all decisions are best guesses, but it helps you through close calls, and it gets people involved in their thoughts, their best guesses, their beliefs. Now you can say, well, Dave, that's great when you get a financial decision. What about a non-financial decision? All right, well, you just put values on the decision. 0, I'd hate the outcome. 50, I'd be neutral. And 100, I'd be really happy. Let me give you an example. Now, you've probably had a situation like this. My wife goes, all right, what are we going to do tonight? Oh, no, what do you want to do tonight? Oh, no, what do you want to do tonight? Okay, come on. Let's try to do this like a decision. What are our options? Well, we can go to a dance. We can go to a party. A particular movie we might want to see, or we may stay home and watch TV. Okay, great. Let's take each one. The movie that you want to go to. If you like it, how much on a scale of 0 to 100 do you think you'll like it? She goes, oh, I've heard it's really pretty good. Not great, but really good. I'd give it an 80. I said, based on what you've heard from your friends, what's the probability that'll happen? Oh, 75%. I said, okay. Based on what you've heard, what's the chance that you won't? If you don't like it, how bad will it be? Oh, man, it'd be a waste of time. It'd be a 10. Well, based on what you've read, what do you think the probability of that is? 25%. Okay. There's a party we can go to. If it's really good, what would you rate it? Oh, it'd be awesome. It'd be 100. And what are the chances? If it's not a good one, what would it be? Yeah, it'd be like a 20. What's the chance of that happen? Well, if so-and-so goes, it'll be a 50% chance I'll love it. But if so-and-so shows up, it'll be a 50% chance I won't like it. Great. What about the dancing? Oh, I love dancing. What would it be? A 90. And if you don't like it that much, well, it's always at least somewhat good, Dave. I mean, the music. Okay, put the probabilities in that. What about staying home? So I take the math and do it out. What's the decision? Okay, what are we going to do? And actually, it's not a career decision. It's a evening decision. And I map it out. And then I do the math, and it says, you know what? We're going to the dance. Close call, but we're going to the dance. And then what happens? A friend calls and says, oh, I was just at that movie. It was unbelievable. You're going to love it. Okay, Dave, I want to change the value. I think it's going to be a 90 is a real good chance. And even I know it's going to be at least a 75. It's going to be really good. Oh, okay. Well, now we're going to the movie. You see how using decision tree, it's easier, even when you know the right decision, explain why. When you're not sure of the decision, it's easy to make. If you took a risk and it didn't turn out well, it's easy to explain, well, why'd you take that risk at the time? It's easy to understand the decision and to get other people involved in it. And the best guess. That's why I love decision tree. It can be used for all the things we've talked about: strategy, implementation, the bridge, because it's all best guess. It can help us in everything we do. Do a decision tree on it. It's a great process. It'll help you make decisions. It'll help you through the way business actually gets made. Best guess, because there are no right answers. Hope that helps.